Welcome everyone. Here it is. This is the Season 1 upgrade and update as well. So Season 1, what we're looking at is we're going to go through the patch changes. I'll go through some of the things, and after that we're going to be looking into battle mode, different modes, city crawler. We're going to look at beginner's guide. We're going to look into rank and different builds. So right away, what has changed with Season 1? There is a PvE mode with the city crawler, and this is actually pretty nice because this allows you to play offline with a bit of, sorry, not offline, that allows us to play PvE with a bit of the casual mode, puzzles, and solving for different tasks. Now, before we look into that, what we're going to look at is the changes of the Season 1. So right away, we can see that the gameplay changes starts with the item rounds. Item used to drop at every 4 rounds or every 5 rounds. So first round, round 5, round 10 goes by the multiples 5. Now item drops every 4 round. This is going to mean that we're going to get 1 extra item after round 20 and things are going to happen faster. Also, the biggest factor here is you can now reroll items. So if you don't like the 3 choices you get, you can roll them again to get another set of those, and you won't have the ones you already found. So if you're really looking for the high tier valuable items like, mechanism, like maybe Pipe of Insight for the mages, maybe a Moonshot, maybe Master of Magnus, this helps a lot. So massive upgrade here. Second to that, you might have known the Ace effect was very strong because Ace units that are found through the Ace effect don't reduce the total number of legendary units of this particular kind. Let's say you have 2 Troll Warlord and I found my Troll, I have 2 Trolls and I'm looking for Troll Warlord with Aces, and I found the Troll Warlord. It doesn't reduce the 10 total Troll Warlord in the game. So because of that, I think maybe it was too strong and they removed that. So now, each time you find a tier 5, which used to be a legendary unit, still are, each time you find them, they will reduce the total number of the legendaries in the game. So there's 10 in total. So if you find a new legendary X, yes, X the legendary now, if you find him, there's only 9 left in the game. So if you are looking for more of that, you have to be, get a little luckier. And the chance reduce each time someone finds it. But if they sell it, it goes back to the pool. Next up, the poison is getting a small buff, and there's a few units that stacks poison, Venommancer, Viper, there's a few of them, and reduced healing is pretty nice because sometimes the healing from Warlock can be a little ridiculous. So, beneficial cells. If you have noticed, units like Jaw Ranger and there's a few other ones that gives a bit of the aura, especially the Knights that needs to be next to each other. I think they adjusted for that, so Jaw Ranger buffs everything next to her and Knights are defensive next to each other. Very good. Rotations. The Scrappies are gone. A majority of the Scrappies and plus Conquer. Conquer is a warrior and also a human. Human is not the big factor. Warriors is a factor because that's a mid-game. That's a pretty much mid to late game stunner for the humans, which is okay because we're getting back Tidehunter. So yeah, the Scrappies and the Inventors are pretty affected. Also without Sniper and Gyro, the Bloodbond is getting changed as well. So follow up, we're getting some units back. Arc Warden's back, Magnus, Luna, hooray! Wind Ranger, Marana, Tidehunter, Enigma, Nature's Prophet, and Templar Assassin. What I was really hoping for is Phantom Assassin. She crits very hard and she could be very nice. But maybe they think there's too many assassins, I'm not sure. So we shall see, So not bad, so we lost a bunch, we got a bunch. We did lose the Scrappy and Inventor because those guys are gone. The following new alliance has been added to the game. They are Summoners, Vigilant, and Void. Summoners increases the summoning's damage by 20 and 40%. Vigilant, basically, when enemy casts a spell, everyone focus on that poor guy. Because he cast the spell, let's kill him, he's a mage. So yeah, they kill the one that cast the spell. And as for the Void, what did the Void do? Bring, where you at? Void does pure damage. There's a 50% chance, I think there's like 5% of maximum health of the enemy. I need to look into numbers, but this allows you to kind of get lucky with higher proc and hit a little harder. 2 items has been removed and we're getting a bunch of new ones. The biggest factor for the items is that we now have a system called hats. Basically, having a hat on a unit, it will give it another alliance. Having a hat that gives you the Ogre hat means you can now be a Bloodbond. Having a hat with Deadeye, now you are also a Deadeye, so the hats are very nice. Underlord changes. June got a buff from all the cooldowns. Ammo here got a small buff. I mean, it's a great attack and also the damage, but the ammo poison stack is getting lower. It used to be 5 stacks, that takes us to 50%. Now with only 2 stacks, it takes us to 30% reduction to healing and also damage rise. so you can't do that much damage with AoE, but you get more damage out of him with normal attacks. Stun duration is nerfed, that's good because it was a little too strong back then. New heroes, change of heroes. This is nice. Arc Warden is back, no longer a 4 cost, it's a 1 cost, and it's a Primordial Shamana. A Primordial Shamana, basically, if you die, you summon a little dude as a Primordial. If you summon a unit, you get more damage as a summoner. Nothing too special about Arc Warden is that he needs 100 mana, and he duplicates when he casts a spell. So he copy a copy of himself with his current HP, but he doesn't copy the items, so no longer copy the items. So he can duplicate indefinitely if there's enough copies on the table and if he has enough mana gain. There's a few ways to do this. Mana boots, humans are your best ways. There is also the mango tree that gives you mana, so there's a few combinations we could try. There used to be Arc Warden used to duplicate items that gets out of hand because you duplicate Refresher or Mana Boots, and with Crystal Maiden back then with Mana Regen, he was very strong. So I really like this one. Next up, Ace. X is getting into a tier 5, so massive boost to his stats and also change of his spells. I like it because X is a very nice unit in Dota 2, and this is great. We can build him into a super tank. So he no longer taunts enemies, but rather when enemy attacks him, there's 18, 20 and 22% of spinning X, and he will deal pure damage to those around him. And he can spin a lot of times. The biggest factor is he's got a great armor and lots of HP at tier 2, and you can build him even tankier. And when enemy is below 25%, X kills them instantly. X kills you now. Yeah, this is X's ultimate as well, Calling Blade. Very fancy. So looking forward to the X. Bristleback, because X was a brownie that was tier 1, to compensate the loss of lower tier brownies, Bristleback is now at tier 2, which is not bad. Bristleback has some still decent HP. The damage is not the biggest factor. The bigger factor is the Quill Spray, which does the base damage, which is not a factor. The bigger part is the stack damage. If you stack more of your Bristleback stacks, he does a lot AoE with physical damage. So let's see how he fares. This might give us the early stacks for the brownies as well. Broodmother no longer have Spinning Web, which is not a good thing for Broodmother. Spinning Web was very powerful in terms of a support warlock. Now she actually does damage, and if she kills enemies, she summons spiderlings. The downside is, well, as a warlock that does a bit of damage and summons spiderlings, I'm not sure how strong that will be. We shall find out. Crystal Maiden, lower 1 tier, so it's a buff to the mages, I would say. The stats are a little lowered, but that's absolutely fine. Yes, X is tier 5 now, Drew. I know. Disruptor, no longer a tier 5. Disruptor is a tier 4 now. So the health reflects that. The spell is not changed, which is fine. Disruptor is not known for his HP. He's known for his AoE Silence and the Storm. So this is actually a buff to the brownies. And also warlocks. But you don't actually get warlock aces, so we shall see. Dragonite. I will have to say this is actually a nerf to the knights, because knights would easily found Dragonite as a 2-star. Now what you get is you get a very pitiful amount of damage, very low actually, and what you have is you have less Dragonite in the pool. It's more expensive to buy him, and it's less likely for you to find a 2-star Dragonite. Definitely a nerf to the knights and also dragons here. Joranger is now Heartless Hunter Vigilant. Vigilant basically focused on a unit that casts a spell, so nothing too fancy for her. Enigma is back. Enigma used to be an ace unit with very powerful spells because he used to do damage over time and people can't deal with that if they don't kill enemies fast enough. And Enigma still does damage over time. He's also a void. I think that's a big factor. So as a void, you'll do chance damage at 50% for 5% of enemies' maximum health. And Enigma is basically doing AoE damage at enemies' health, max health to 4, 5, 6 maximum health per second. And now it's going for 5, 7, 9 seconds. And also enemies slowed in the area. That's very big. So radius wise used to be 1, 2, 3, which is massive on the board. Now it's a 3 times 3. So you will go onto the unit with the highest HP of enemy, and then it goes to spread around the unit. So we shall see how strong Enigma is. Nothing too fancy though, so no longer Shaman, which is fine. Shaman is not the biggest factor here. Faceless Void. Now we're Void Assassin. Primordial wasn't that great for Faceless Void, to be honest, because he has to die to make use of that, and it's kind of pointless. Void Assassin is better. If we have one more Void, that means he can do more damage while he chronos enemy, so that's definitely a buff. 100 now is a Savage Druid Summoner, well, straight up buff to Lone Druid, and this means more damage to the pair. Easily get 2 summoners and very strong. 20% more damage. Luna's back. Elusive Knights into Vigilant Knights. So Luna's a big boost to the Knights. I think the nerf of Dragonite and having Sven kind of reflect that you want to make the Dragonite a little weaker, or at least don't get all the Knights. So Luna is definitely a boost to the Knights. We can see lots of Knights with her. Lycan got his puppies back, guys. He's no longer muted. They took away his puppies last time. Now Lycan got his puppies back, and his damage is lowered. He is no longer a hunter. Now he's a summoner. Means his puppies will do more damage. And you know, the crits here, the transforms are slightly lower on the numbers, but the little puppies will help him with damage. The little summons he has also are savages. That means when they attack, they increase the damage of themselves. Magnus is back. He's no longer a brute. He is a druid. Magnus buffs everyone with AoE damage. Magnus buffs one unit with cleave damage and also gives a power boost of damage. So Magnus is not bad of a support druid, and also makes the druid stronger because there's more of them to find. Next up, Medusa. Medusa has been quite strong as the hunter, simply because of a scale of her focus 5 with hunters, etc. But now without Ace effect, she's a little weaker, and also without the multiple split shot, she's also a little weaker. So we shall see. I think this is definitely a nerf for sure. Nothing's good here, right? Marana's back. Marana used to be elusive and she stuns a lot, very powerful hunter and very strong unit overall. So very lovely to see more hunters. Nature's Prophet. There used to be a build with Nature's Prophet as a mage and it zapped people around, but here we can see Nature's Prophet is now a summoner. That means he's gonna summon little trade dudes that doesn't do much damage, and little trade dudes have high HP, and so they act as a little fodder tank that doesn't do that much. And I don't think Nature's Prophet will be that strong unless the gameplay actually proves me wrong with the summoner's buff. Necro, he's back to Warlock, guys. He has the best of both worlds, a Warlock and a healer. Only downside is Necro does the same damage but lower healing, actually massively lower healing. He's here for the Ace effect, he's here for the Alliance effect. Basically he has 3 of the best alliances as support. Heartless is 2, Warlock is 2, and Healers is 2 now. So this is really good for the Ace completion of a high tier build. Zenkin was too strong for his time, so he got a nerf. He went to tier 5 with slightly boosted on stats, increase a bit of damage, increase on stuns, but that means it's harder to get him to 2-star. So this is definitely a nerf to the insects and also to builds that requires to use the Savage with Zenkin. Shadow Shaman, tier 1 to 3. I don't mind that. Trolls into Troll and Summoners. Oh boy, Trolls and Summoners is going to be massive. And he no longer chickens people, he no longer hacks. He summons massive Separate Word. He summons 4 of those. I super hope those words actually get the buff from the Trolls so they attack faster. Those words are not savages, so they're just random words. The words have this much health, this much damage, and attack rate is pretty good. Also magic resist. Shadow Shaman is like upgraded version of the Venomancer. Scrappy lost all her friends. Now she's no longer inventor. She's a dragon now. So, she's a brownie now. No bad, could work. And Scrappy and Viper can be your to-go dragons now. Hey, I don't see Puck, right? Puck? No, they didn't bring back Puck. I don't think they did. No, they didn't bring back Puck. Talking about dragons and mages, they didn't bring back Puck. I was like, there's something I'm missing other than Phantasm. It's Puck. Damn you. Bring back Puck, please. So Phantasm, nothing has changed. She just gets more damage and more focus fire on the spellcasters. Tidehunter is back. So replace Conquer with Tidehunter means you get instant stun, better than the slow bolt. Tidehunter has really good stats, also a scaled. Tidehunter with Slider was the 2 gold warriors. Let's see how we go with this one. Pretty good. Also, Tidehunter warriors with Medusa is really good. Also, you get more scaled, so you defensive against the mages. Venomancer, you're becoming a summoner. Scaled summoner, no longer a savage, no longer a warlock. So that's a nerf to savage and also a nerf to warlock because Venomancer was so good early game. No longer have Gale, now you have the summons, but you also have Poison Sting and also Plague Work. That means Venomancer is super strong because the reduction to the enemy healing, also you apply damage over time. So I think Venomancer definitely got a buff. But the other alliance got a nerf though. Viper is now going to have Corrosive Skin, which this allows us to damage over time and reduce enemy healing, and this is pretty good. Definitely like it. Void Spirit. Now we're Void and Spirit. Also tier 4, that's better because it was harder to find Void Spirit as a 2-star. And by the time you find him, the game may be over. Whether it's not a tier 1, this boosts the insects and hunters, but in return, it's not a big changer. I don't think this will be a big factor because Waver is now even a weaker unit, so less game changing. Wind Ranger is back. So she's a vigilant hunter, just add 1 to the hunters, nothing too strong. Without the 6 hunter A's, the hunters won't be that overwhelming, I think. Item changes, yes. I spoke earlier about there are hats in the game. So hats allows you to get another alliance onto the unit, which is great because in TFT they have this feature and I'm loving it. So this is great because there's a bunch of new alliances we can get. I wish there's more hats and we can go from there with combos and choices. Blood Bond is now an Ogre cap, and also whoever is Blood Bond, when the ally Blood Bond dies, you get a flat 150 damage. Really good. This is like sacrifice the devil. So this amulet basically gives you damage, armor, but you lose health. So unless you have life still, you're gonna be dying very quickly. Units usually have 1,000 to 2,000 HP, so you have 10 seconds or 20 seconds to do your thing. So basically you sacrifice 100 health per second to do 90 damage. Could be really good on Luna, could be really good on a few units that have innate lifesteal, or just wants to do damage fast. Or if you have super regen, that could help. Barricade, not a big factor, I rarely use that, to be honest, just a few changes. The Crown of Altus, so basically turns a unit into a hunter. This is actually pretty good because you only need 2 hunters and just have this cap, all of a sudden you have hunter alliance. Dragonite is infinite attack range for range units and also 20 damage. Not bad, and you can really work well with hunters. Next up, Pen of Midas. This item is too strong for its time, tier 2 to tier 3 now, so it's a nerf to the item. And there's too many other good choices for it to compete, so now it's not the best in slot for tier 2. So in tier 3, it's probably average. Cadence Blade. Tier 4 offensive. So instead of doing normal damage, the hero would do 7% of enemies' maximum health as pure damage, which is really good on units like Medusa, units that attacks fast, like hunters, and not so good on the slow attacking units because they might have high damage. If you're hitting a unit about 1,500 HP, you're looking at only 105 damage, so keep that in mind. So this might not be the strongest item. Situational. Leg Breaker, so basically you're brute now. I'm not sure why it's a tier 3 item for a brute, but hey, why not? Let's have some brute party. Mango tree is very nice. So it's a tree that you're gonna plant, and around the tree it's gonna throw mangoes 2 cells away. It can give to the enemy as well. So any enemy or any unit that touches the mango gets 50 mana and health. As I spoke earlier, it's great on Arc Warden and it's gonna be very fun. So it's like a healing ward, but except it throws mangoes. So, Failed Twins. So you can turn a unit into a Deadeye. Deadeye is a single alliance that focuses on killing the enemy. So no longer have AC effect, so it just kills the lowest HP enemy. Not bad actually. Really good on the units like, Sniper, which is gone, maybe Assassin, maybe some of the Hunters. Maybe on Axe. Curling Blade, that's what I mean. Axe have this innate ability. So 25 attack damage. When you attack summon unit of Curling Blade, I was thinking of the other one. The Axe ability to kill units with one shot. So basically this one targets summons and you'll do twice as much damage to them. Really good summoning clear. And if you get something like Magnus with a cleave, very interesting. Rasu Circuit, you turn a unit into a demon, which is not bad. You get the demon powers really good. Next up, we have the Target Buddy. It's a slight nerf to Target Buddy, not that much though. Got too excited and coughed a little bit. So, alliance changes. As I spoke earlier, no longer you get a percentage damage. 125 attack damage is actually better because units don't have that much percentage damage at the start because their flat damage is not that high. So this is actually a buff, a massive buff, because anyone dies, you get this buff. As for the brownies, you don't get that much kills for the summon units, but you still get some because you'll get 2 out of hand with the summon units back then. This is a slight nerf to the brownies because they used to benefit from Pve modules, and now they don't benefit as much, but there's more summons around. Deadeye is just focusing down the lowest HP unit. As for the healers, so it used to be 3 of the healers to make the alliance, now it's 2 and 4, so 25 and 50 additional healing, not bad. Knights got a nerf because there's more knights around, and also knights can be late game, so the damage defensive So you lost 2% here, you lost 3% there. Not a massive one actually, it's okay. Savages, this is very interesting because you should get attacks each time they cast or attack enemy. Now the savage units, allied units, and also allied heroes. So basically everything on your team should get more damage when they attack. That might be too much, I think. We'll try that out. Summoners, you get more damage with summon units. With the Vigilant, basically allied units, all units. So, oh, I see. So what they mean by the savage is savage units for 2 savages, all allied heroes for 4 of them, all allied units for all of them. So you need 6 savages to complete, so all units attack and gain damage. Here, all your heroes would gain damage when you have 4 savages. Ah, I see. Because Vigilant here is all Vigilant units, then all units. So at 4 Vigilant, you basically all units will kill the one that casts the spell. Lastly, Void, you need 3 of them, and when you have 3 of them, it's 40% chance of doing 5% damage of the enemy's maximum health. Not bad. So, that was a bit to go through, isn't it? So overall, this is a very great update, and I like to see the direction in taking with hats, which allows you more flexibility. I really want to get into the dungeon crawler, which will have a special video on that. And as the unit choices and the flexibility and balance, we're going to see a few balance changes for sure. And we're going to determine what's great on casual games, what's great in ranked games, and what's really powerful at this stage. So that is the summary of the update notes. I might have missed something. I might have set a few percentage wrong because I was going from memory. So as you can see, I missed the Void ones. So let me know what you guys think. And you know, if you're thinking this is going to be a great direction, which I think is very nice. And how do you think the game will turn out with Season 1? Thank you so much for watching this quick summary for the update. I'll see you guys next time with more Underlords, with gameplays, builds, guides, and you name it, more things to come. Thank you guys. Oh.